Welcome to the Shifted podcast and video series. Each week we connect with teachers to hear their stories about teaching and learning during a global pandemic. We focus on shifting practices, digital tools and resources, health and wellness, maintaining balance, and supporting our students during these challenging times. The Shifted podcast is from the Greater Victoria School District in beautiful British Columbia, Canada, and is recorded on the unceded territory of the Lekwungen-speaking people, the Songhees and Esquimalt nations. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Shifted podcast and video series. I'm John Hamlin. I work with the Greater Victoria School District here in beautiful and today, sunny Victoria, BC, home to the Lekwungen-speaking people, the Songhees and Esquimalt nation. And today we're connecting with Jeff Weaver, the Director of Bands and Jazz Studies at Oak Bay High School. And Jeff is a very incredibly talented man. Beyond being an accomplished musician in his own right, he's got music degrees from the University of Victoria, master's degrees from Sam Houston State University. He's the recipient of a Premier's Award for Teaching Excellence, and also is past president of the BC Music Educators Association and director for the Canadian Music Educators Association. So it's a long list of accomplishments here. So we're really lucky to have a chance to connect with Jeff today. Jeff, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the wonderful acknowledgement. It's been many years, and it's neat to hear them all sort of add up like that. So thanks for that.
It's a long list for sure. You know,
Thanks.
over the course of this year, we've been talking with teachers from all different subject areas and expertise backgrounds, and we haven't had a chance to speak with a music educator yet. And of all the different teaching areas that have been impacted by the pandemic and how we go about structuring our classes and doing our teaching and learning, I can't think of an area that's been as impacted as music in terms of class sizes and how you guys go about your business. So what have been some of the biggest challenges and changes in your music department this year?
In a word, everything's changed except for music. So I guess the first thing I have to thank is the BC Music Educators Association for putting a ton of work in the summer to figure out what the protocols and the safe ways of playing music were. Without that breadth and depth of knowledge that came out of the leadership there, we would have probably, canceled band in SD61 and canceled choral singing, because without the knowledge and the research, it would have been really, really tough. So some of that knowledge and research that we've gained is that students, need to be separated and need to be spaced apart. And that poses its challenges. I'll touch on that a second. We also, in the band world, went with face masks that have holes in them. So students are physically putting their instrument inside the face mask and then playing, so that we're limiting that spray. Also, the ends of bells are covered with a bell covering. Bell covering's been absolutely no problem. Really easy to implement, kind of just, elastic band on the end with some fabric. We've ordered stuff and had parents make things. That's been good. The masks have been a little bit more problematic. You need to see kids play to be able to diagnose what's going on. But overall, that's been really good. Separating out music classes. So here at Oak Bay High, we have classes of 60 plus for pretty much all of our bands. And so getting that cohort down so that it's doable, we've had to split into 2 or 3 different groups. And learning how to split those 2 or 3 different groups has been incredibly challenging. Nathan Jacklin, my teaching partner, is a magician at spreadsheets and figuring out how to make all that work. And then also we've paired those classes with English or PE or math. And so making the cohorts work for both math, English, and PE as well as band has also been a challenge. And tough to do, logistically hard, but worth the effort in the long run. The things that we found out that we didn't even consider. So first of all, students coming to me and saying, I want to be in the other cohort. Oh, why is that? We've got you the trumpets all together, for instance, today. This is great. Yeah, but my friend is in the other group, and I joined band to be with my friend because I have a good time there with her or him. Oh, yeah, of course. Connection. Yeah, it's a social connection. And I always knew that our class was a social connection for lots of people, but I didn't realize I always thought it was secondary to the music, but it's not. It's the kids come to us to be together, and they come to us to be as a team, and then the result is music. It's not not the other way around. And I would sometimes put in the cart before the horse. So that's been really a great thing to learn. That's
Yeah.
one of those silver linings that I think I'll take with me for the rest of my time. The music is secondary behind the relationships that we make,
Yeah.
which has
It's
been great.
interesting of all the different subject areas. I feel like I know maybe, might be a confirmation bias or something, but there's more people within my circle of friends that seem to have met and solidified friendships in band programs in high school that seem to endure and last lifelong, or even, partners and relationships that have formed that ended up blossoming into marriages and whatnot down the road. And there's something very special about music class when you're engaged in a participatory experience and creating something together that creates bonds that seem to run deeper than other groups in school, for sure.
Yeah, well, I've been doing this for 18 years, so yeah, I've seen those relationships you're talking about. I've seen my graduates go on and still be friends and still have the same Facebook group they started in grade 12 when they graduated as the band grads, stuff like that. So
Yeah, yeah.
really, it's really neat, and that's the kind of stuff that you should get out of high school, I think.
So in terms of like performances and things like that, obviously that's been really different this year. How have you guys been kind of dealing with that hiccup or that challenge to how you normally would do things?
Yeah, so I think the greatest challenge was no audience. So, a music concert here looks like 400 people showing up at the school, probably another 150 musicians behind stage, families together, community together, school board trustees, principals, you name it. They come out to a concert and we entertain, and it's all taken with a grain of learning, and people understand that there's going to be a couple of wrong notes and that it might not sound good here, or that part was rough or whatever, and that's part of music education, and people love it. um, the listening audience when you record things is not nearly as nice. So we listen to things with a critical ear, and I think that's just the way that our society is trained to listen to things. When you can go back and listen to it again, the kids are going, "Oh boy, I don't necessarily sound as good as I thought I did." Um, and even myself, I listen to the bands and on the stage, I think, "Oh, that was perfect," and I go back, "Oh, it was just less than perfect, darn." And so that's been a big challenge. Also, the actual physical recording of things is not something that schools are set up to do, especially large ensembles. So whether it was choir or band or strings or any of the music ensembles, we have musical theater, whatever it was, we really struggled with having the right equipment to be able to record. And then we also struggled with learning how to use that equipment as music educators. I might be a great musician, but I sure am not a recording engineer. And I've been very lucky to have some help this year through a parent here who is a great um, recording artist, and so John Blythe, and he's been wonderful at helping us out. But it's hard to call in 14 favors
Yeah.
during the year because that's how
You're,
many ensembles we recorded, right? And so it gets to the point where it's like tough, and then you have editing afterwards, which is on top of your teaching stuff. So
sure.
it's major. It's
Yeah.
huge. I can't wait for the concerts to come back because it's so much easier.
Yeah. One
I
shot.
never thought I would say that, right? 550 people to manage, and a
Yeah.
concession, and fundraising, and kids and instruments and everything else. And I can't wait for it to come back. That'll be the greatest day ever.
When the concert's over, it's over. There's no, that's
Yeah,
a
there's
big
no
one.
editing to do,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Moving forward, do you think you'll maintain some aspect of recording now that you have put this huge time in? I'm sure the schools have a financial investment in this as well. Do you think you'll probably have a foot in both worlds, live performance and recording, moving ahead?
We don't have a financial foothold in it. The
Okay.
school district was not able to provide any extra funds for the kind of recording equipment we needed. I wish we would. We do have a live stream camera that was installed in our theater back when the theater was built, so we're very lucky that way. But that was just kind of something that came with the new building.
Hmm.
So I don't know. That's a good question. The quality is not as good as we'd like it, and honestly, I want people to come to the concert.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, like you say, you talked about the families and the audience, and certainly, I think there's an added element with that, the pressure, the, temporary stress of the live show and students rising to the occasion of the performance that's,
Definitely.
goes hand in hand with that learning experience in music.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Same with theater and, drama and all those other type of performance-based curriculum areas for sure.
Also, the
Yeah.
fact that you can hit stop and try it again
Yeah.
if something goes wrong, that's not reality.
Yeah, that's right. So in terms of, you talked a little bit about like these silver linings. Is there any other changes? You've been also working in a quarter system this year as well. I don't know, that probably hasn't, maybe has that impacted you as much as it has other subject area teachers? Because you were sort of a different type of timetable anyways beforehand, right?
Yeah. So here at Oak Bay, we run a completely linear system all the way through the year, and we call it touch points. But basically, every single band we see 3 times a week for an hour through the whole year. So when you start learning an instrument or learning a new technique on an instrument, it's sort of like I always compare it to going to the gym. So you wouldn't go to the gym on the first day and lift 75 pounds. You might start with 5 and then work your way up over weeks. And so that's basically what we do in the band class with playing a musical instrument. The problem with the quarter system is we see kids for 6 weeks, they go away. Maybe we see them for another 6 weeks, they go away. And so in that time where we don't see them, no matter how much home practice they do, they don't get the fundamentals that they need. And so we've really noticed teaching new concepts has been really a struggle.
Right.
And it's not the kids' fault. They're all doing the things that they should be doing. It's just the
Yeah.
nature of the beast of teaching in a pandemic.
Yeah. So, back maybe before the BC Music Educators Association put out those guidelines, and I remember being part of conversations back at the end of last year, just basically saying, how can band run in a safe way?
Yeah.
What were those conversations like for you, like within your collegial group here in the district? Like, did you guys feel confident that things could be figured out, or were you feeling like, my whole program's in jeopardy here as well?
I think we all felt like everybody did about the pandemic at this time last year. You're just thinking like, what is going to happen? There's so much uncertainty. The best part about music educators in SD 61 is we all like each other. We all are part of the LSA. We all enjoy spending time with each other, and we're all friends, and we're all able to get together and just about overcome any problem. So the amount of like just work, no guys, we're not going to cancel band. We're going to figure out how to do this, and the sort of willingness to make it happen, I think was super inspiring, and then the results were spectacular.
Yeah, yeah, and really kudos
Really
to
neat.
you for getting through that. And you mentioned the LSA, so I know as you're past president of a PSA, the BC Music Educators Association, and part of the LSA, the Local Specialist Association here in SD61, but not all subject areas have LSA or PSA connections. Although there, most secondary teachers can connect to a PSA through the BCTF if they want to. Because most PSAs are based in the Lower Mainland or usually have events around, the mainland of BC, there's not as much awareness here on the island, at least from my experience, from what I've seen. So can you talk a little bit about how those connections provincially through the PSA and then locally have benefited your career as a music educator?
Oh, thanks. That's a great question. So I got started with the BC Music Educators Association way back at the university level. So that was always part of our training at the University of Victoria, was to attend BCMEA events and get into it. And then when I got into teaching as my career, then that was just sort of natural. And you start out with helping out with the conference or doing whatever. What it's done for my I guess my pedagogy has been amazing. I connect with people literally all over the world, and it's all thanks to BCMEA. If I have a problem or a question that I don't know how to solve, I literally have a laundry list of people that I can phone and ask, and they're not only willing to talk, but they're excited to hear from me.
Mm.
And I wouldn't know any of them if I hadn't, just even volunteered for a small position on the board. And it's one of the things that when I get a student teacher, I was, get involved with your LSA, get involved with your PSA. Even if you just do something small, it'll pay off in droves. The other thing I think a lot of teachers don't realize, like, we pay for a PSA through our union dues,
Yeah.
and it's a benefit to the members to use it, and it's the greatest form of professional development.
Yeah.
Greatest form, spending time with people that are like-minded for a common cause or a common teaching area is absolutely invaluable.
Yeah. It's I would agree completely, and especially now in our era of online Pro D and being able to connect and not have to, as nice as it is sometimes to go in person, it, from the island is a bit more arduous of a process to get to an event and then file your Pro D expenses and all that kind of stuff, if you can even get that covered. So especially in the era of online facilitated Pro D, it seems like, take advantage of those opportunities while they're there, because
and that was the other reason for joining the PSA was, like, I got to go to Vancouver all the time.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
They'd actually fly you over in Harbor Air or something like that.
Yeah. I did get to take Harbor Air a couple times. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, one of the coolest things I ever got to do with the BCMEAs, I got to meet Sean Varro from the Wide Mouth Mason, which is like an old rock band, and he still connects with me on Twitter.
Oh, that's awesome.
I got a rock star friend. Yeah, same with the lead singer from Mother. I got to meet him as well. Yeah, so and the BCMEA tied into the Canadian Music Educators Association, which I now sit on, and so now it's kind of coast to coast. I get to go when it's not a pandemic. I get to go to Toronto once a year, and then they pick a different spot in Canada to have their meetings at once a year. So I get to see other places, and then I have friends in just about every district across the country. It's really cool.
That's great. It's that's an interesting connection. I went to a Wide Mouth Mason concert at a pub in Big White in Kelowna about 20 years ago. So we're dating ourselves a little bit here, but
a little bit.
Band.
Yeah, that's okay though.
Fantastic. Well, would you have any other closing thoughts or comments you'd want to share with any other music teachers in our district or provincially?
I think, I think the greatest thing that music education has going for it is a common group of friends that are able to teach together and work together, and it's probably our greatest strength. The members of the BCMEA, for instance, are just about bigger than any other PSA, other than elementary school teachers. Those people are connected.
Yeah.
But I think that's our greatest strength, and I think that what we do for kids goes way beyond dots on a page, and it's why I love teaching. I teach music because I enjoy spending time with kids, but I also teach music because I know that it creates strong relationships and lasts a lifetime.
That's fantastic, Jeff. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate hearing from you and getting a little window into what music's been like this year. And let's keep our fingers crossed. Maybe in September, we'll be back to some semblance of normalcy, and you'll be back to running those concession stands and navigating 500 parents in the audience. Who knows? With any luck. Thanks so much, John. I really appreciate being asked to be on your podcast. Thanks, Jeff. Take care. Thank you. Thank you for watching or listening to the show. You can find all of our episodes, leave us a voice message, or send us any questions or comments at our website, shift-ed.ca. Until next time, take care.